Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us for Altamont. This is our story. I'm one of your hosts, Lacey Spence, and I'm joined by...
I'm Keanne Armstrong. I'm so happy you're joining us this evening. We're here live in the TV studio with all kinds of people from Altamont, Illinois.
Yes, our friends made the trip up so that we could share this program with you. We've got so many wonderful stories coming your way this evening, and we hope that you'll support WEIU by getting yourself a copy of the show. You can do so by getting the number at the bottom of your screen, a phone number, and you can get your DVD, Blu-ray, or flash drive anytime throughout the show.
There's lots of ways to watch us this evening. We are over the air, on cable, Dish Network, Hulu Live, Plus TV. We're on YouTube TV. We're on the PBS app, our website, WEIU.net, our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel. There's some people from Altamont right there. Spread the word tonight. We were all over the world. Altamont, this is our story coming your way right now.
Altamont, This is Our Story on WEIU is brought to you in part by Rogers Home Appliance. Rogers Home Appliance is a proud supporter of Altamont, This is Our Story. Rogers Home Appliance, located at 115 North Main, hopes you enjoy the show. Rogers Home Appliance, your local appliance store with 2 locations, Altamont and Effingham, for your convenience. Lutheran Care Center. Lutheran Care Center, a not-for-profit retirement community, provides a wide range of living options including skilled nursing, senior living apartments, independent maintenance-free homes, and LCC Kids, a licensed child daycare center. Lutheran Care Center salutes all the storytellers in WEIU's Altamont. This is Our Story. Ballard Nature Center. Ballard Nature Center is happy to present Altamont, This is Our Story. Ballard Nature Center, with hiking trails, kids fishing pond, pavilions, and a visitor center with exhibits and bird feeding garden, is open all year. Enjoy the show from your friends at Ballard Nature Center. MOCD Law. McDevitt Osteen Hoineke and Daters LLC, with over 200 years combined legal experience providing solutions in personal injury, estate planning, probate, family law, criminal defense, real estate, business organization, and commercial transactions. McDevitt Osteen Hoineke and Daters LLC thanks all of the champions, stories, and storytellers involved with Altamont. This is Our Story. Irwin Seating Company. Irwin Seating Company, a proud fourth-generation family-owned business, stands as one of the world's foremost manufacturers of audience seating for movie theaters, auditoriums, arenas, and more. As a cherished partner of WEIU's Altamont, This is Our Story, we are honored to be woven into the fabric of Altamont, Illinois, and to contribute to the rich heritage of this remarkable community. We invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the inspiring stories and history that Irwin Seating Company has been part of for generations. Joe's Pizza, Altamont. Joe's Pizza in Altamont is Altamont's Italian carry-out, dine-in, delivery, and catering restaurant. Joe's Pizza of Altamont thanks all of the people who helped, created, assisted, and produced WEIU's Altamont, This is Our Story. Enjoy all of the stories from your neighbors at Joe's Pizza. Additional funding provided by Allwart Artworks, Hydane's Hidden Timbers, and the Illinois Arts Council.
I believe if one is going to discuss the origins of Altamont, Illinois, you start with the name of the town, Altamont. It is from the Latin and it means high ground or high mountain. And the reason for the name is a natural elevation of land that is located just west-northwest of the city. It rises about 80 feet above the nearby railroad bed that passes by. And from atop this mound, one can look out and see the village of Altamont, and it offers a truly wonderful perspective on the town. If you're going to talk about the person who named the town of Altamont and the fact that they chose this name, then I think it begs the question, well, and who was the founder of Altamont, Illinois? This gentleman, whose name was John Conlog, he was a native of upstate New York. He grew up in the Finger Lakes region in Steuben County. He was a railroad executive. At this particular time, he was the superintendent of the Vandalia line. And Conlog, here you have this person of Irish ancestry, and he comes to this area where there's no official town on this particular part of the prairie as they are building this railroad line. But he does look around, and I think that he did pick up on the fact that in the outlying areas, you already had a number of people who were German immigrants, mainly who had bought their ground from the Illinois Central Railroad and who had begun the process of settling the area. So I think that Conlog looks around and he realizes, okay, there are thrifty, industrious, hardworking people already here. This could make a good spot for a city. In addition to that, he had a couple of other concerns on his mind. The Pennsylvania Central wanted a direct line from the eastern shore of the United States to the Mississippi River. So they would call up people like Mr. Conlog with the Vandalia line. They would call essentially what were regional subcontractors and say, look, we've got a lot going on. Here's the deal. Build this line. We want this to happen. So Conlog does. And in 1869, still before he's officially founded the town of Altamont, this line is complete, and there are freight trains and passenger trains that already are running east to west and so on and so forth. He's hailed as a conquering hero because having a direct line to St. Louis, that was something practically every village in central or southern Illinois wanted to have. Conlog ends up platting and recording the town of Altamont in July of 1870. There were two other railroads that were being built, one to the southeast and one to the northwest. I think he picked up on the fact that if these two railroads are going to be joined, if I put a town right between Pana and Edgewood, there's a good chance when they join those lines, they're going to intersect with the Vandalia line, the Pennsylvania Central, which already runs from east to west. So he goes ahead and he plats this town, and then those other two lines are joined, and immediately Altamont ends up by March of 1872 with not one but two railroad lines servicing the town. And the town from there takes off. I mean, the stores and the shops and the homes and the churches, the saloons, I mean, there's all kinds of variety in the business district. By the early 20th century, the schools are well established after being first built in the 1870s. And then you have high school sports. You get a high school champion basketball team by the 1920s, which feeds this sense of community spirit. Conlog also left a gift to the town. And before he left the town in 1875, he leaves this gift of 4 acres for what would become Union Cemetery on the north side of town. That is the spot where I believe if you live in Altamont, maybe more than any other day of the year, you really feel a sense of community, because each year on Memorial Day, the townspeople gather at Union Cemetery for a ceremony of remembrance. We pause to remember our war dead. And here's a man that had no family anymore, but understood the importance of community and family. And here, more than 150 years later, this is where the town comes together for a very solemn, meaningful occasion. And I cannot think of a more extraordinary or poignant gift that John Conlog could have left to the town of Altamont.
So the story of Ballard Nature Center begins with its namesake, Ernie Ballard. He was a prominent businessman and visionary in the Altamont community. He was a man who did not like to sit still. He had his hands in a lot of things. So he was a part owner in a dairy business. He owned an implement business. He was a charter member of the Altamont Lions Club and served on the Lions Club until his passing. He was one of the founders of the Effingham County Fair and served on the fair board for 20 years. But then later he became interested in conservation. And in 1958 he purchased some land from John Russell and he started some conservation efforts on it. And then about 10 years later, John Russell sold him the rest of the property that would eventually become Ballard Nature Center. And the land consisted mostly of woodlands and ag land. It was a farm at one time. And so Ernie got busy and started cutting trails through the woods. And he even invited people to walk these trails long before he really had the vision of what the Nature Center would come to be. And as he did this, he realized he was going to need some help. It was a big project that he was taking on, and he actually gave the property to the Soil and Water District in 1997. And they helped with habitat restoration and other projects going on the property, but then soon realized that Ernie's vision was very grand and they would not be able to fully help in that vision, that it was just too much for them to undertake. So in 1999, the Soil and Water District gave the property back to Ernie Ballard, and he formed the nonprofit foundation of the Ballard Nature Center and put together a board of directors to oversee the development, because he really wanted this to be something for the community, for people to come enjoy. So the mission of Ballard is twofold: education on one side, and then habitat restoration and management on the other side. So at that time in 1999, when the board of directors was formed, he also gave a generous donation of funds to build the visitor center. And in the year 2000, in the summer of 2000, the visitor center opened to the public. And then in the year 2003, Ernie did pass away, but before he passed, he did get to see a lot of his vision realized. School groups were already coming out on field trips. The ag land, which was about 85 acres, was converted to woodlands, prairies, wetlands. Trails were being put through these new habitats. All these new things, couldn't have been done without the community. The wetland boardwalk was built by volunteers. The viewing platform that takes visitors up above the prairie, built by volunteers. A lot of the benches have been built by volunteers. It is really a truly special place, and made possible by special people. And so Ernie, he once said, "What's the use of owning such a beautiful piece of property if you don't share it with others?"
Altamont's strong faith-based heritage is tied to the diaspora of Lutherans who fled Prussia in the 1830s and 40s. And in 1861, they started their journey to Effingham County, Mound Township, Illinois, to an area where the railroad was supposed to be built. For 163 years, the Bethlehem congregation has educated its children in Christian schools, and it continues to this day by being one of the supporting congregations of the Altamont Lutheran Interparish School. The St. Paul Lutheran Church was built on the west edge of Moundsville, which would later become the city of Altamont. This occurred in 1866. Their story was similar to the Bethlehem Lutherans who left Prussia to flee religious persecution. They had two church buildings, the second of which burned from a fire when lightning struck the steeple. Seems a common theme in those days that the steeples served as lightning rods. The next church was also called St. Paul's, but it was north of town in an area called Blue Point. It had members from Prussia. They wanted to have a church centrally located near their farms where their children could walk to school and they could easily get to church for regular worship service. Today, after 155 years, of its 250 members, most of them are descendants of 10 of the original founding fathers. The Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Altamont was established in 1874. Emmanuel is one of the original churches that started the Altamont Interparish School. The budget is completely tuition-free to students of church members. And in addition, these people who support their own school willingly pay taxes to support the public schools. The Zion Lutheran Church was established in 1893, and the Zion Lutheran Church installed locks on their doors for the first time in 1987. But that was only because it was required by their insurance company. The Methodist Church had an interesting beginning. It had a German Methodist Church, the United Methodist Church. Eventually they came together. There had been 4 circuit churches around the area, most of which have closed, but they built their current structure in 1911, and that is the primary Methodist church in Altamont area. The St. Clair Catholic Church came about in 1874, the same year as Emmanuel Lutheran, and it is a result of a fire that occurred on Christmas Eve of 1873 when the St. Bonaventure Church burned to the ground. St. Clair had its own school for 9 years in the 1800s, and the current church building was built in 1921. The Presbyterian Church in Altamont was formed in 1906 and it closed in 1995. That building is currently a performing arts venue. It had some of the most beautiful stained glass windows in the city. The First Baptist Church was formed in 1955 from members of the oil field workers who had come from Oklahoma. The First Christian Church was established in 1955, and it has various buildings, 2 of which are shown in the photos. The Gathering Church was established in April of 2021. It is our newest church. It met in several places. For a while, in the back of Luke's Bar and Grill. We affectionately referred to it as St. Luke's. Some of the volunteer acts and charitable acts in our community are from the St. Paul's Lutheran Church. They have produced thousands of blankets to send worldwide to the impoverished. We have had playground equipment purchased and installed in our city parks. We have volunteers who mentor for students in the public schools. We have coaches who work in the sports programs, and it goes on and on. It's hard to say this without leaving someone out. I have often wondered how a small town like Altamont, with only 2,400 residents, could produce such selfless volunteers, so many acts of charity, and still have a thriving business, professional, educational, and agricultural community. I believe the answer lies in the fact that Altamont has a strong faith-based heritage.
My story about Altamont is actually about the beautification of Altamont, and that encompasses the Altamont Garden Club, which was established in 1962. The beautification of the triangle, which is downtown Altamont. They do a great job with the flowers throughout the community, especially the beautification of Schmidt Park. They have improved that tremendously with flower plantings on the corner of the park, and they have got the city to do a meandering pathway throughout the whole park, and they've added light poles to be lighted at night, and they've also have put benches in, and so that's been one of the projects of the Altamont Garden Club. Currently, they are doing a lot of the hanging baskets in town. And what we do, or have done in the past, is grow the hanging baskets in the greenhouses. And for about a month and a half, mid-May, the garden club takes over and waters them the rest of the summer. They have 10 crews, 2 people each, and they have a pickup truck So it's quite a project. I think there's about 35 members of the garden club altogether. It really adds to the beauty of the Altamont community, especially when the hanging baskets get growing. They grow like 3 to 4 feet long. They are spectacular all summer long, really add to the beautification of the downtown area. We can't not mention, the utility department and the crew and the Altamont crew and how much they do, because we are a Tree City, USA. And of course, when you've got, it's like living in a forest. I mean, we have some beautiful trees there. And so when you have that much leaves falling in the fall, they do a really good job of keeping everything clean. Then my latest addition is Allward Sculpture Park. And we started this, I think, about 7 years ago. So it's more or less a culture park. It's just a couple miles south of town. But we have presently, I think, over 69 sculptures. They're all kind of human scale sculptures. They're not monumental. So you can walk around the farm pond. It's a half mile, and the whole area, it's got over a mile of walking paths. But you can walk around the pond, you can see all these sculptures. We also have a really nice gazebo. You can stop halfway, rest, sit in the rocking chairs, enjoy the day. Because of my travels before I moved back to the Altamont community, I saw a lot was going on in the rest of the United States, especially with the perennials and the flowers and stuff, and people enhancing the neighborhood. So I started the garden center and started working with the local community. And as you will travel around town now, as well as the surrounding communities, you will see the great improvements that have been made with landscaping. And we were always kind of ahead of the time with the garden center. So I think it's added a lot to the area. I think Altamont was ahead of the curve with the other communities too, in establishing, nice flower beds and in the parks and as well as around their homes and established businesses. So we're very, very proud of that, which is, like I said, led into my, you don't have too many sculpture parks that are privately owned in the state of Illinois. So we're one of the few. I'm very dedicated to it, and that's what I want to give back.
The Altamont Schuetzenfest was founded in 1965 by a group of businessmen in Altamont, and they were ready to find people to celebrate their German heritage and to get more people to come into the city of Altamont. Sam Ganuzzi was the first president of the Altamont Schuetzenfest. He had a full board to support him and come up with lots of creative ideas. The Schuetzenfest was selected to be on the third weekend of September every year, along with all the events that they selected to do with the Altamont Schuetzenfest. Included the crowning of the Schuetzenfest Queen, and they intended to do a trap shoot. And the trap shoot, they had a Schützenkönig, which in German is the king of shooting. So every year they continue to have the Schützenkönig at the events. The original menu was red cabbage, German potato salad, bratwurst, sauerkraut, and they had smelt for all the fish lovers. The board also decided that they would like to have a special recipe for their bratwurst, and still to this day we use that exact same recipe every year. And it is a very secret recipe, and I don't even know it. The first Schuetzenfest was held in 1966. And on that Friday night, a cold snap came in and they thought they were doomed. By Saturday, the weather broke and they had the best turnout ever. From 1966 to 1976, the Schuetzenfest grew leaps and bounds. They had approximately 50,000 people coming to this event. They bussed college kids in from the U of I, from Eastern Illinois University, from Carbondale, SIU. They went through 554 half barrels of beer in 2 days, in the whole weekend. And they sold over 4,500 pounds of bratwurst. So that is a lot of food. The Schuetzenfest is a much smaller event nowadays. We do still have the queen, and we added a king to the fest. We have volleyball, kickball, we've had car shows. We still have the trap shoot. It is held at the Effingham Sportsman's Club. We have several people that still like to dress in their German attire, and they come and they listen to our polka bands and dance and have a great time. We have little children that absolutely love coming in and listening to the German polka bands because a lot of them have never really heard that. This community's backbone is German heritage, and we want to continue that legacy for years to come. This year is going to be our 60th year, so we kind of want to make it a coming home celebration to where all the people, even the original president, Sam Ganuzzi, was at our Schuetzenfest this year. The glory of seeing him and the pride that he still has is the pride that I would love to see myself in 60 years.
All right, we are back. What a way to open the show.
Oh my goodness. When we get to open a show with the origin story, we had Kurt Becker. He is laying the land, talking about, you know, this beautiful mound, this place that John Conlog spotted and said, I think this would be a great place to put a town. What a way to kick things off.
Oh, what a way to kick it off. This is such a great show tonight. 5 wonderful stories to start us off. We saw Ballard Nature Center and the sculpture park. We have Nick right back here. He's willing to answer the phone for us tonight as well. So lots of beautiful places. Speaking of Nick, the number is going to be at the bottom of your screen. We need you to give us a call. Our phone operators are standing by.
That's right. Very exciting for us to be able to kick things off. Karen Gruhl couldn't be here with us this evening, but she did such an amazing job talking about Ballard Nature Center. Little guilty. I love that place. We got to go there for Take a Hike, another WEIU show, and getting to go back, getting to hear more about Ernie Ballard, the man behind this beautiful location, was so cool. Like she said, he was such a mover and shaker for the community.
Yeah.
He was one of the founding members of the Lions Club, the county fair. I mean, when you see people like that rooted who really care about their community, their legacy just lives on for years and years.
It does, and we're going to see a lot of that throughout the show tonight. And Altamont, this is our story, but right now is your opportunity to give us a call. We have phone operators standing by right now waiting to talk to you. You can order 1 DVD, 1 Blu-ray, or 1 flash drive for $75. If you order 2 or more, they're $60 each, and we want to hear from you because these are the storytellers who are part of the show tonight. They told the stories. They gave their personal stories, all kinds of different history, and I have one of them standing by right here. This is Dale Wolf. He was a part of the story, faith-based communities. So Dale, so nice to have you here this evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
So one of the churches that you talked about is no longer a church. It's something else in Altamont now, right?
That's correct. The first Presbyterian church was disbanded several years ago. It's now a performance venue. So we have live musical performances, theaters, and...
Go ahead. It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't want to miss my phone.
I don't want it to be missed either, but you know what? They got it.
Great. It still has some of the most beautiful stained glass windows in it, and it makes a wonderful venue.
I'm so glad to hear about that. That's one thing we didn't want to miss out on, is letting people know about the Living Museum in Altamont. And then also, you wanted to add something else about the churches, right?
Yes, I think it's really fascinating that with the German influence, there were 5 Lutheran churches and the Catholic Church that all had their own parochial school for several years.
Yeah, that is really interesting. So wonderful history about the churches that had schools and that are now no longer a church, and now another part of history in Altamont. So really interesting. I'm going to let you get that phone call.
All right, I'll do it.
All right, Lacey, I'm going to throw it over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Kian. And we are over here, we're joined by Darren Beckew. And you are not one of our storytellers this evening, but you have an incredible impact, a connection to Schuetzenfest. Can you tell me a little bit about your family heritage?
Yeah, absolutely. My dad is German. My parents are both German, but my dad didn't speak English until he was 17 years old, but he was born and raised in Altamont. When he went to the military, then he had some good buddies that helped him learn the language, but it was common at that time to live in the Bethlehem community. south of Altamont, and just not, you could get by with just doing German only, and that was our dad, and he learned at 17 years old. So I have a special connection to Schuetzenfest because I'm full German heritage, and I love continuing what they've started, and it's pretty cool. So.
No, absolutely. I'm going to set this mic down really quick. But as we're looking around our studio this evening, we have so much memorabilia from Schuetzenfest, which is just, it's amazing to see everyone come together. You can take in the steins, you can see the hats, the lederhosen.
Yeah.
What's it like for you that so many years later, after this event started, to see so many people still come out for it?
Oh, it's incredible. It's a good feeling, and we have new people every year, but you have people that come back every year. But the memorabilia is a huge part of it because we have lots of collectors, and what you see on display there are some big collectors from the town of Altamont that they love it, and they want to come out and get their stuff every year. But we really enjoy it.
Yeah, and we were able to have Sam Ganuzzi, one of the founders of the event. He made it to this year's Schuetzenfest. He also came to our red carpet premiere. What was it like to see him roll through the doors and be able to celebrate Altamont like this?
It was very special. It was very cool to have him out at Schuetzenfest plus at the premiere. And I definitely think we have a cool picture of him drinking a beer this year. But what a cool old man, and I'm glad that he is still around, and it's just a big part of our heritage.
Wonderful. Well, we've been so excited to highlight it, and thanks for letting me pick your brain about Schuetzenfest a little bit. Kian, over to you.
All right. Well, I've been standing here waiting to ring this bell. We've been getting some phone calls. Thank you for all of those people. We're going to give you a shout out as soon as we get your name and where you're from. So we're waiting for some more calls to come through. If you don't feel comfortable calling, you can always go online at WEIU.net. Once again, one copy is $75, 2 or more are $60 each. And the phones are still ringing. I'm going to ring this bell once again. So we have DVDs, Blu-rays, and flash drives.
And we are so close to a phone blitz, so if we get one more call, then all of our phones are maxed out, and that's what we want. We love seeing that you are calling in. You are giving your vote of confidence. You say, I love Altamont. I love what you're doing at WEIU. PBS, we are cataloging history, some very rich stories, and just having a blast here in the studio tonight, and that's all because of you.
We are, and it's viewers like you that make a difference to us. We rely on funding from the communities, from businesses, from different places around our viewing area, and it's because of you that we're able to do shows like this. And Altamont stepped up. They wanted to be a part of the Our Story series, and it's because of the folks in this room right now that this show is on tonight.
No, it's always a blast when we get to pop over to our home set. We've always got it decorated with such nice memorabilia that the town was so sweet to share with us. And when we get to have some of our friends in-house, that makes it that much better. So if you are loving Altamont, this is our story so far. If you want a copy of the show, you can go online right now to our safe and secure website, WEIU.net. You can also call us right now at the number at the bottom of your screen. One copy is $75, 2 or more is $60 each. And a really cool thing about that, you also get a year of Passport with this purchase, and that is our PBS streaming service. Over 1,000 hours of PBS content. We're talking food, we're talking travel, mystery, drama, you name it, you can probably find it on there. It's a great value, and it's something else that we want to share with you in addition to this wonderful program.
That's right, and you can watch it anytime, anywhere, on any device. It's on mobile, it's on TV, computer, you name it. Speaking of that, we are live right now on our website, Facebook, YouTube, Hulu, live TV. Do we have a phone blitz? Nope, almost. And we're also on YouTube TV. We're everywhere we can be, and we're also on the PBS app. So when you're on the PBS app, you may see some different programs that have a little compass. Those are the Passport shows. And when you donate tonight, $60 or more, you'll have a 1-year subscription to that as well.
Yes, so as we are hanging out here, we've already talked about the origin of the community, Ballard Nature Center, the wonderful religious history, so many churches, beautification of the community. It is so neat to see a community that not only wants to function well municipally, but they care so much about offering a beautiful space for visitors when they come to their community. That is Altamont. And then, of course, wrapping things up with Schuetzenfest. I mean, the German heritage in this community just goes hand in hand.
You're right, and I think it's really something for the beautification. Speaking of that, Lacey, the garden club.
Yes.
I mean, They have that truck, they go around, and the hanging pots, they're so beautiful. The town is just really beautiful. All the architecture, the different houses that you see, it's a Tree City, USA. The trees were beautiful and part of his story.
Oh, yeah.
And just the sculptures that Nick makes. I mean, it's just really something to see in person. Ramin went over there on a windy day, so all the mobile sculptures were moving really well, and it was made some great video.
Well, and let's talk about them being so unique. They have the town triangle.
Yes,
right? We're
so
going to hear
unique.
more about that as we go through the program. It's not often that you hear anything other than a town square, which they are nice, they're gorgeous, don't get us wrong, but it's something else that just sets them apart and takes things up over the top.
You're right, and you're going to hear more about that in stories coming up. We have more stories coming your way very soon.
That's right. So we do have a couple people on the phone, but we would love to have you call before we wrap up and send it to our next block of stories. I believe our next block is the school block.
It is.
We are going from students down here to students up here. We've got Frog Pond, ALIS, the grade school, high school, and then the sports. How can you leave out the sports?
Oh, the sports. It's a great story. And I'll tell you what, you are going to see so many people in this next block. If you see someone, you have to call them and say, hey, you need a copy of this program because so-and-so's on that show.
Right, so we've got a lot of familiar, friendly faces in studio. Say hi, guys. We've got a lot of lovely people on the phone right now, but we are going to go ahead and I think send it back to the program. So we hope you'll sit tight with us and continue to enjoy Altamont, this is our story.